Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. I just warped out quickly. It's been a day or two since I've played last. I used a lift stone. We came back here to above. I think...
For now, my course is
I'm kind of just ignoring her dialogue for the most part, by the way. Okay, so I seem to recall that we went into the big old spirally tower area and we ended up fighting the Gore Cyclops, the big old nasty spiky monster who was chained to the wall there. And that means that we probably also got the Void Key. The Void Key that we could use to open up another locked door, and that'll be kind of how we can progress and continue forward. For now, I'm going to go ahead and purify all of these items that we've been picking up. These cursed items. So let's see. Jewel of Anti-Light. Holds a jewel of magical properties, holds the power to strengthen resistances. So using it, and it'll probably boost our resistance to light magic or something like that. Dragon's Gaze helps you find Wakestone shards on the map. Not super useful. Scroll of Acquisition. So that's another interesting thing that we can get as we purify these items. There are unique augments, skills that you can learn, kind of the passive skills, not like new attacks or anything. But there are new passive skills that we can get from some of these Bitter Black novelties. I think it's from the novelties. So there's a Scroll of Acquisition. So that's a skill that will hasten the speed with which we gather and mine items. I think I already have that. Godly Analeptic. So that will recover 100% of our HP. That's pretty fantastic. Scroll of Athleticism. Reduces stamina consumed while running. And Farseer's Cap. Kettlebrim Cap. Specially designed for archers. Distinctive look has won it wide popularity across the realm. Mistletoe Circlet. Adorned with mistletoe, famed for its invigorating properties. Its unicorn-inspired shape gives it an air of the mystical. So we can see all these things that we've picked up. So that's neat. And then the Scroll of Acquisition, like I said, we already had that, so the game automatically converts that to cash
for now,
for us.
my course is unchanged. Pray, take...
And then Heavy. What do I have? I am going to cannibalize one of my other party members' King Warish to get a Salubrious Brew for extra health recovery. Macabre Eye. Why on earth am I so weighed down? Like, what do I have that's so heavy? Rancid Bait Meat is kind of heavy. Lift Stones are not particularly heavy. So it must just be curatives. It must be, what, all the extra green warish and stuff that I've been picking up. We can spread the love here a little bit amongst my party members. Wine, we have mushrooms. I guess we're picking up a bunch of Harspud sauce and things like that. Let's give some poison curatives to everybody. I guess I do have a couple pieces of ambrosial meat. Okay, that's okay. Alright, and with that, back into Bitter Black Isle. Get used to seeing this run, because you guys are going to see these first couple of areas quite frequently. Until we unlock some of those shortcuts on the sides.
The moonlight lends this place an otherworldly feel.
Okay. So I did rest at the bench up top there.
Strength in numbers, Arisen.
Which is probably why all these enemies respawned. Mottled leather hide, sure. We have snakes, we do have snakes. Snakes are not a huge threat, but they can poison us.
It seems this place
Which could be
is
irritating.
only to those with some tide.
That's the only real threat of snakes and spiders, is that they can induce poison. Damage-wise, they're really not significant.
Ranged attacks.
Just a bunch of goblins.
New foes.
Oh no.
Others' corpses strew them. Garm, stand ready. Leave these to me.
Okay, so there's a Garm. Cool, that makes this a lot easier. I was going to use a rancid bait meat to summon the Garm. So, you may have heard... Oh boy, he's kind of spazzing out a little bit there. You may have heard Lucy, my pawn, say something about the Garm. About the corpses of the other enemies drawing its attention. So that's one of the big, interesting new mechanics of this area. By the way, we're just going to wreck this thing.
Did it!
One of the new mechanics here is that as you kill the enemies, and I've pointed them out before, these piles of goo that are left behind, see, and then the Garm left a big old pile of goo, those corpses will attract the certain other types of enemies that feed on carrion. So, like Garms, for example, if you kill lots of enemies, there's a chance that a Garm will show up. There's also a chance that Death, the Grim Reaper, who we saw on our first little visit through this area, he was kind of just a scripted, like, show up, hang out for a minute, kill a couple pawns, and then leave. But he can potentially show up and just ruin your day if you kill a lot of enemies. What else? There are, like, some like, anti-dragons, like, cursed dragons, very similar to the undead dragons in Dark Souls. And those can show up as well. I feel like I'm missing a few. Anyway, just a bunch of those types of enemies, so that's a thing to be aware of. None of the chests in this area are particularly good. Generally, I think the fancy chests are the only ones that I'm really going to care about. In these areas that we were like cycling through over and over again. And the fancy chests, when I say that, I mean the carved, engraved, gilded chests, whatever you want to call them. These ones. These are the only ones I think that can... Oops, didn't mean to pick that up. That can have cursed, bitter black items in them, and that's really the only type of treasure that I really, really care about in here. Let's give the bait meat to Lucy. She can hang on to those for us for now, until we want to use them. So yeah, the rancid bait meat items, if we use those, it will guarantee that one of those carrion feeding enemies will show up. I assume it guarantees. I don't think I've ever used one and not had one of those enemies show up. So like in that past room we were just in, I could have used the bait meat and summoned a Garm. Although I think probably not, since the Garm did actually show up on its own. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with how it all works. We have...
Where you have it? No doubt.
Take a look at our quests again, if I can find the right menu. We'll ignore that one. That's the actual story mission for the game itself. So we need to collect 10 of the macabre sculptures. We need to acquire 1 abyssal eye. And we need to defeat 5 Garm. We've already defeated 1, so 4 more Garms. 4 more Garm, I guess. So we will have to keep our eyes peeled for additional Garm. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to summon any Garm for a while. I don't know, I might. Who knows? We'll just kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. Now... forget where it is. There's some areas around here. Yeah, over here. Here we go. Or we can climb up a little bit. Maybe. There we go. And there's a macabre sculpture, and that's about the only other one that I actually recall the location of. So we will have to be diligent and hunt for those as we proceed. Now the void key that we got last time.
Fast. We'll need a
Open up this door. Just a little cutscene of the door opening. And it consumes the void key, so those void keys are one-time use items. We will need additional void keys as we proceed. I don't think there's any situation where, you know, there's two locked doors and you have to pick one. I think it's, you run across a locked door, you find the void key that opens it, you proceed, and then eventually you'll find another locked door, and so on and so on.
It's meaningless. The lot of it is mad.
Okay. Rift crystal, that's pretty fantastic. Another new item that we can pick up here, the corpse nettle. They are flowers that grow out of the corpses of these previous Arisen, I guess? I'm assuming that they're all Arisen.
Assume the enemy lurks round every corner.
Oh no. I hate those dumb worms. Those are probably my least favorite enemy in the entire area. And they don't necessarily spawn until you walk by them. I think that's probably the worst part.
Train told me no more. I could go no further.
This looks interesting. Who's this?
Leapworm jelly. So my pawns are picking up some of those, it looks like. Oh, there's wings out there. I don't really like that. What do we got going on out there? Cockatrice! And a bunch of goblins. That's okay, the cockatrice should be pretty easy. Cockatrices? Or just one? Kind of perplexed by what my pawn just said.
Rid us of the stone thrower!
Storing its power!
Now, let it down!
I think they're weak to lightning, so that's why I was doing that.
Morale is lost.
Alright, Rift Crystal Spec. I know you've got some items under you. It's like black pinions.
A weakling is a weakling still.
It'll take more than that. If you feel a foe is beyond our means, there is no shame in fleeing.
Alright, so let's see. It looks like the way that we need to go to actually get out of here is going to be to the north. So we're going to explore a bunch before we do that. Another Rift Crystal. That's fantastic. I guess there is more King Wars just in these courtyards in general, so that's a good thing to keep an eye out for. Yeah, so that's our door that we need to go through to progress. So naturally, I'm going to go everywhere else first.
Quite enough of battle.
Wardley Tonic. Some sort of health recovery thing. These mushrooms here, these Crag Shadow Morals, they are absolutely fantastic for stamina recovery. They give a lot more than kind of your typical mushroom that you find throughout the game. So it looks like here there's a little passageway going north we can climb into. I'm going to proceed along this area first, and then we'll kind of loop back. Another lift stone, those are always handy to have. Let's explore down here a little bit first. Boy, we're getting tons and tons of rift points, rift crystal things.
Let's have a look. This looks interesting.
Okay. I'm always terrified that there's going to be those worm enemies. I forget what they're called. Those mimic worm things that pop out and try to eat us. I don't like them very much. Greater Goblin. So this is another completely new enemy type, these Greater Goblins here. Gnarled fingernails, lovely tonic. And they have sorcerers in their groups.
We'll rout them in a single charge!
Did it!
Luckily, they're not too difficult for me right now, the way I am on this character now. The first time I came through here, though, these goblins just absolutely ruined everything about my characters and my party trying to play through here.
This looks interesting.
Skull Pendant. So yeah, a lot of these new enemies are going to be dropping completely new items that we've never seen before. So that's pretty awesome. And that's how we're going to get a lot of the items for upgrades that we need to rarefy our equipment and make it gold or silver Dragon Forge upgrade thing. Is there anything in here? These sorts of storerooms are typically pretty good places to find macabre sculptures, I believe. Just because they feel like they have a lot of hidden nooks and crannies in these rooms. Noble earring, don't care about that. Music just kicked in. That was kind of weird. There's a door here, but I also... Oh, that was not music. That was a siren. Alright, just a regular ogre, nothing super crazy or new about that. Apparently I'm overcumbered. That's always sad. I hate having to manage my inventory. That's probably the biggest issue I have with this game is how much it encourages you to be a pack rat, but it doesn't make it easy for you to manage your inventory. Think. Oh, I have a lot of sour scrags of beasts, too. There we go, that's better. We will need to go back into that room we were just in. In fact, let's do that before we continue along this current path of exploration here. Oh. I was hoping I could grab the ladder. That would have been really cool. There's a macabre sculpture for us. Those are really fun to find. I love all the little optional quests like that in here. Neck wrap. And a lift stone. Okay. None of those worms. That is good. Unspeakable meats, don't really care. Rift Bristol, Rift Cluster, those are good. Ogre Tooth, don't really care. The drops from standard enemies, those are not going to be terribly useful to us. That looks like probably a bad place to try to fall.
Let's have a look.
Ooh, bit of black armor. Alright, so there's two paths here. So this one goes along the top, and then it looks like the other one probably is just stairs connecting this floor and the courtyard. Oh no.
Terrorists! Garm at their feet!
Hey, Garm! So, as I mentioned, carry-on feeders. And they don't necessarily have to show up, like, immediately when you kill something. They can show up after a little while, which is kind of what's happening here. I believe Garm can also show up in actual packs of enemies, more than just one. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. Where did you go, Garm? Is this the path that connects? It is. Oh! Got an Indiana Jones boulder there.
I'll scale it and strike from above! Mind that breath!
Thank you for tanking that trap for us, Mr. Garm.
We have triumphed. I have nightmares from that one. If you feel treasure, perhaps?
Plucked heart. Looked like a staff of some sort. Probably a mage's staff? Alright, let's give this another shot, shall we? There we go, that's what I meant to do. Looks like there's another trap there. Does this go where? Let's see where this leads. There's a chest. Orluk's shield. Okay, that's just like a little dead end thing there. Aha! Okay, well this is the path that I was pointing out earlier that led to the north. So... that's neat. It all kind of just loops back around on itself. These areas are very maze-like. It can be very easy to get lost. There we go. Another Rift Bi-Crystal, that's pretty fantastic. I really love checking out all these balconies. Hopping around and exploring them, because they're not... there's almost always some areas that are not generally accessible that you kind of have to explore too. Lordly Cloak, don't think that's going to be any good. And back over there is where we started. Okay. I feel like we have done a pretty good job of clearing this area out. Go ahead and just take that fall there. Yeah, we even got another Garm. That's pretty awesome. And a macabre sculpture. I'm assuming that there's like a single macabre sculpture in every single area. Daughter of Misery. That's a cheerful name. Alright.
Have we sufficient stores of oil?
So we've got an up and a down.
Judge well the distance.
Just go up first, I guess. Down is where our purple circle is telling us to go. So this seems like a good idea. Staying away from that at first. The Warrior's Respite. Ah, Barak. What are you doing here?
When I was made Arisen, I asked myself just what sort of role it was the world had handed me. From the very start, I'd no interest in chasing after my heart. Useless thing. If eternity was mine to pass as I saw fit, I'd pass it doing what I liked. That was my answer. And what of you? You the type to buy into talk of duty and fate and all that? I've stopped thinking about it, truth be told. Like as not, there is no real answer. Now, will you have a look? I'll see you don't regret
It's a very, interesting opinion that he's got there. Alright, we're gonna deposit some stuff. Deal with our inventory a little bit. Boy, we've been amassing quite a bit of junk here. What else? Tomb, and then Lucy has 3, so we got a total of 5 macabre statues with us. Oh, right, the cloak. Deposit that. I don't think it's going to be any good for us. Crag Shadow Moral. I'll keep just a couple with me. I don't need that many. And the incenses and things I can probably pass around to my party members as well. I think they would make better use of it than I can.
No.
So let's do that before I forget. Only perfume. Oh, well. As if to prove my point, I accidentally used that. What is this? Auspicious incense. Cover a great deal of health to the entire party. Yeah, we'll give all those to Lucy. Mushrooms, stamina drench. Rousing perfume, stamina for everybody. That's fine. Oh, and then let's give those other 2 statues over to Lucy as well. Although now Lucy has a ton of crap. Let's maybe help her out on that front a little bit. That's gonna have to be good enough. Oops.
I've seen. No.
Alright, let's see what we got going on here in this Warrior's Respite area. So there's a lift stone, but more importantly, there's a bench to rest on. Holy cow, there's another request board here. Echoes from the Beyond. Examine all of the recollections of another Arisen within Bitter Black Isle, so that they may be inscribed at the Monument of Remembrance. That's probably the pillar, the statue thing that's all the way back up at the beginning. That's interesting. Call upon you, Wanderer of the Abyss. I call upon you, lost and witless human. You will gather the epitaphs left by those who came before you, signposts on the road you would travel. Okay. Hope Springs Infernal. Acquire 3 blood red crystals in the center stratum. So we're moving into the center stratum. So we started at the upper layer of Bitter Black Isle, and then apparently from here on down it's going to be center stratum. More or less. I don't know exactly where the distinctions are going to be made. That's an interesting indicator of our progress. Call upon you, Wanderer of the Abyss. Call upon you, lost and witless human. You will bring me what I seek, and I will grant a boon to aid you on your travels. 500,000 gold. which is, yeah, I mean, gold's not super crazy useful for us anymore, but I won't say no to a quest. And then these are interesting quests. So, slay the Gore Cyclops in Soulflare Canyon. So some of the enemies from this area now can appear out in the actual rest of the world, which is a very interesting idea. Can you hear me, Arisen? Even without a heart, our blood can still boil, our undying bodies roiling like storm clouds. We are butchers, you and I, and whatever pretense we might carry will never wash away the stench of blood and death from our hands. So let us not deny our true nature, but embrace it with a test of will. An Unseen Rival 1.
Something's written here.
So those are interesting, because those couple of quests that had numbers on them, like Hope Springs Infernal, and I think... Well, let's just take a look. So, Visions of the End, collecting the 10 macabre sculptures, that is 1 out of who knows how many, so we will be needing to collect more as we progress. Wages of Death, 1. So defeat the 5 Garm, that's also going to be a continuing quest. And then an Unseen Rival 1. So I'm really curious to know what quests and things are going to come next. I know there's this little hidden area here I hopped up into, this attic. And we're going to have something really interesting. There we go. Moonbeam Gem. Can we... The Moonbeam Gem, if you recall the tower where we first encountered Barok, way back towards the top, there's like that... Holy cow, that's a ton of throw blasts. And an airtight flask. I will take the airtight flask. I don't need any more oil. We have tons of oil. Oh man, another airtight flask. That's crazy.
Treasure, perhaps?
And a level 2 novelty. So yeah, the Moonbeam Gem. We can take that back up. There were some locked doors that we could not open. And they were all requiring a Moonbeam Gem to open. There were like half a dozen of them or something that we saw. So that is a thing that we need to go back and do. So this is interesting as well. A broken rift stone. Looks like you might be able to restore it using rift crystals. Do we want to pay 5,000 rift crystals to restore this? So there are rift stones scattered throughout here. Kind of the game indicating, hey, this area is going to be very hard, and you're probably going to lose your pawns. Especially like when the Grim Reaper shows up and he can just kill your pawns instantly, and you have no way to revive them in those situations. So there are these broken rift crystals, and we can restore them, and then from that point on we will be able to use them like normal. Also, apparently a healing spring? That's kind of cool.
Let's repair that rift stone as soon as we are able.
I don't know that we really need rift crystals or rift stones. We do need rift crystals. I don't know that we need the rift stones, though. I don't know that I care enough to repair those. Maybe later. We'll see. We can keep an eye out for them and see if we ever do run into areas where we're actually losing our pawns. Okay, looks like there's nothing else down there. Cool, so a nice little kind of sanctuary, a little resting place here. And this is actually a fantastic place to end the video, so I'm going to end it here. Next time, we continue exploring the Center Stratum. I'm probably going to go fight some more Garms, maybe wrap up a few of these quests that we have. Although, I'm not super aggressive about handling those. I mean, Garms will just kind of show up as we play, so I'm not too worried about doing those. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time.